So in 1992, the Bosnian Serbs declared, roughly half of the country to be Republika Srpska, or a Serb republic. They had begun to undertake the project of removing non-Serbs from that self-declared territory. This idea is documented in many of the indictments and judgments of the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia. They're accused and found guilty of attempting to permanently remove all non-Serbs from Bosnian Serb-claimed territory.
None of this to say that the tribunal is without legitimate criticism. Some cases took long to finish, and some high-profile cases had unexpected outcomes.
It's very frustrating for the survivors. They need to have, say, Radovan Karadzic or Ratko Mladic found guilty of genocide for Srebrenica, but then they're found not guilty of genocide for everywhere else in Bosnia.
There's never really been any closing. There's never been really reckoning fully with, what happened in Bosnia and with this violence and with these atrocities.
We try to find a place to live, continue in school, find some job to make a living, and everybody looking for missing people. I try to find the brother, father, sister.
And we must ask ourselves whether we were always sufficiently focused on the affected communities we serve and met their expectations. Many victims from all communities are still waiting for justice. And thousands of families do not know until today the fate of their loved ones.
There are atrocity sites, and even those sites that are related to the Srebrenica genocide, that are part of the conviction of Ratko Mladic, where people are not allowed to put, let's say, a simple plaque.
For example, where my uncle was killed, no sign, roadblock there, just a gravel field, unkept, still bones on the ground, etc. All of these lacks of commemoration that are done purposefully in a way that you're always going to look around, you're going to be reminded about the fact that these people were killed and now they're not allowed to be remembered.
And there's also the problem of along with denial, many of the victims had been buried in mass graves, and the local population knew where the mass graves were, but they wouldn't say where they were. So it was taking time to locate them and then to identify the human remains. And in the process, the bodies were disarticulated, so that it was not uncommon to find a victim in 5 or 6 different mass graves.
We lost so many people. We not prepared for war. We never thinking about it, gotta go on a war to anybody. And we paid a big price for that.
It's hard to have that closure. That many killed people, that big of a memorial, moms have lost multiple children. Some of them have not even found their remains yet.
It also feels very unfinished. I think that's the best word for me. It's so unfinished because, at least with my family, my uncle, a lot of our family members who died in Srebrenica, they're still unfound. When we found my uncle's body, it was a couple of bones. So most of his body is still out there in some mass grave. And we've never found my paternal grandfather, Avda. We've never been able to bury him. So standing there, and going to all these sites, you feel this deep, unfinished nature of this violence.
The reality is that the victims of the Srebrenica genocide are still being recovered and identified.
We have a phone call one morning from Red Cross. He's looking for identification. and he have information for my brother. He find them in a Kamenica, same place. Actually, last time I see him, and he find only couple pieces bones from him, and that's why he keep him. So he find it on a 3 different location, another probably 30% bones. So 2022, July 11, we decided to bury him in a pottery.
July 11th, there's a collective burial. So it's called a Genocide. So it's a Muslim funeral and collective burial. Now you're having a funeral for 750 people, let's say 1 year. Another year, 500 people, as there's every year they're being identified and buried.
Yeah, so my dad was a soldier. We did have a funeral for him. It was short. Unfortunately, they didn't allow me to see him, but I did sneak by, and I was able to see him, lying there. It's traumatic again, all over. The feeling and just me leaving him there. It's such a difficult. Those are difficult moments. And then I go visit my area where I was, the house, and that's kind of just, almost down to the grounds. They burnt it down and nothing's left, just a couple of walls. So all those memories are there, there. Now you return, no one's there,
Physically, what did we leave? We left family, we left friends. We left our memories and part of my heart stayed there.
But I think you encounter them so much that you become acclimated to their presence. You become used to the fact that no matter where you go in Bosnia, there's always going to be hurt, there's always going to be memory, there's always going to be these ghosts from the past haunting any building, any family, anywhere. I realized that most of the people living in that village today, they're older women. And then you think, why is everyone here basically an older woman? Why are there no older men or sons or children? And then you're like, oh, because Srebrenica.
It's interesting that when I went back home, we were driving through the area where we were crossing the street, main street, to escape, and there was some kind of a feeling I started feeling, and I turned to my husband and I said, "Is this the area?" And he was like, "Yes." You can't really make this up though. It's just something, and I'm pretty sure it has a lot to do with the trauma in that moment and everything else that has left impact.
But I think overall the feeling that I felt throughout these journeys, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Standing there and standing in these spots where thousands of your people, and including relatives that you've never known but you've heard about so much, standing there and knowing that this is where they had been killed. It is an indescribable feeling, because you stand there and you feel them, and then you don't know, are you really feeling them? Are you just imagining this? Are they here? Are they on the next life? And it also feels very unfinished.
Materialistic things are okay, we'll build it back, but people, he's not there, his brother's not there, most of his family's not there. All of these people are gone too. So all we have is memories. And I truly think that if you don't talk about these, that it's almost like it never happened. These people never existed.